What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again. And well, like I said the other day, we're gonna talk about what they're trying to hide, right? This stuff from Lockheed Martin, right? These exotic flying machines, as they have chosen to call them. And I'm gonna go about it I don't know the best way or the simplest way I could explain these lies, right? Most important, I think I've said this many times, there is nothing new under the sun, okay? And don't forget that. It's a simple statement, but crucial, okay? So another important thing that can open up your eyes to have understanding, right? Not of everything, right? That's not the point. That's never the point, right? A single lifetime is not enough, right? But rather to have understanding, right? And that understanding, I think, is what should have been known as the knowledge of God, right? The knowledge of God, right? Things we were meant to observe and which were supposed to lead us to the eventual question, right? Or rather, the inevitable conclusion that nothing is random, everything has been orchestrated, right? And of course, the enemy of humanity has made it its business to keep certain truths again. I can't even find the reason, but hey, they do it. So I have a couple slides here that I'm gonna use to educate ourselves, right? They're gonna be from various locations, but they are all connected, okay? So start with a simple one. How does a cat always land on its feet? Right? To see those angles and stuff, well, you can look it up. It's quite interesting, but basically it involves them twisting half of their body weight. It's incredible, cannot spoil it for you. Right? Again, I'm just here to enlighten. Right? Because I find out that the issue is how people cannot come to the truth easily is first specialization. I think specialization ruined us. It ruined us. Right? A barber only notices the hair upon one's head, right? So, the Vajra is another very peculiar thing that is said to have the ability to cast thunder, right? And it's not only in the Indian text that this is said to be true, but actually this device can be found in the hands of many gods across different civilizations. And of course, as you can see depicted, and of course bottom center you can see the field that is created by this weapon, because that's what it is called all across the board, across all the cultures that have these deities. Okay, this is the Vajra. And then, like I said, these are from different locations. This is the hummingbird, one of the excellent flyers, right? Well, this particular bird has the ability, a unique ability, right? Different from other birds, and that is the ability to hover, right? Hold stationary in a locked position. How do they do that? Well, a normal bird, basically not a hummingbird, in order to fly, right? In order to fly, their wings flap up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Their bones are literally designed to effectively perform this maneuver. Okay, so basically half of this figure here, right, is what they normally do. So to better explain what a normal bird does, you divide this number 8 here in 4s, right? And then you take the bottom left and the top right, right? That is the flapping action, right? Like how you do your hand like that, right? That's how they are created. But this bird here does 4, as you can see, and they are coupled, a upbeat and a downbeat, an upbeat and a downbeat, like that. This is very unique to this particular bird. And of course, again, let's go back, right? They twist, that's a number 8. This machine here, number 8, this bird, number 8, you know, it reminds me of those Russian choppers that have two of those propellers, you call them, the car, if I'm not mistaken, the car variant. Provides stability because of the turbulence caused by the first, so they cancel each other out, hence becoming a hovering machine. We have this. This is what the moon does. Okay, again, that figure appears again. And this is what the sun does. And this is a real life photography, right? The sun at the same time every day of the year. Okay? This is the image that is compiled, right? So every dot there creates this beautiful collage, right? Because again, this is a compilation. Okay? And what do we have? Number 8 is back. Now we're gonna go to fish. Okay? Fish often display a number 8 figure 8 or circular swimming pattern to maximize efficiency, navigate, or defend against predators, sometimes closing in the middle. This behavior can also be a sign of stress or method of maintaining spatial awareness in a new environment. Key aspects of 8 in a circular swimming pattern: defense mechanism, efficiency, sign of stress or disease. So we have fish swimming in this pattern. Of course, it continues. Okay? And of course, and the last point there is foraging. Right? For school of fish, schooling fish, similar efficient behavior include staggering diamond patterns or synchronized row to manage energy expenditure, right? So they're quite intelligent, these ones. Well, this is your field. that extends from in you going outside. And if you are to take a section of those lines, what do we get? We get a number 8. So we have like a rotating number 8, and a person is in the middle. Yeah. And if you rotate that, this is what you get. Hence the spaces on the bottom and the top. Talking about hearts, this is what it really is. Now you might be asking, how does it pump blood? Right? It's a singular muscular thingy. And most people have this notion that the heart is a pump, right? Using hydraulic forces, if I don't know, for lack of better. All right. But that's not the case. It's because of a number 8, right? Number 8. Well, this is a study. These scientists were trying to understand fish behavior. And of course, as you can see, those are vortexes, right? If that's what they are called in plural. Right? And the fish use their spin for transport. Okay, as you can see, path of fish. So, going back to the heart. The Hartfield pattern 8 refers to the Hamburg-Hamilton stage 8, HSS, cheek embryo and sexual development milestone, la la la. Let's go down here. Hartfield formation. Hartfield formation. The primary Hartfield is patterned and brought to the midline, initiating the formation of a heart tube. Well, this is some deep stuff, right? As you can see, the language, brief and direct, and only meant to be understood by the people who are gatekeeping this knowledge, right? Like they couldn't find more efficient ways to deliver this. Is the math for those who want the math and stuff. Okay, what do we have? Have a famous number 8, right? So this Rudolf Steiner, heard of him before. He was the one to suggest, right? It is actually a vortex, right? Electrically charged. So for those who are wondering how the heart beats, well, 2 at a time, right? You gotta maintain those 2 holes of number 8, right? 2 at a time, right? Just like a hummingbird, right? 2 downstroke, 2 upstroke. But not 4 of them at the same time, no. two at the same time, but really fast. Hence that familiar rhythm is established. But there are actually 4 actions going on, 2 at a time, consecutively, giving the rhythm. Some have gone deeper, as you can see here, negative end, positive end of this vortex, right? And of course there's a vortex within a vortex within a microvortex. Okay, so this knowledge is out there. Why is it kept from people? You have to go ask somebody. Okay, speaking of number 8, can also be used as a principle and a visual aid of some kind. All right, so in this case particularly, a neutron, right? So imagine a number 8. On one hole we have an electron, on the other we have a proton, and of course what is joining them is this particle here, the neutron, right? Neutron act as a buffer in the nucleus, reducing electrostatic repulsion between positively charged protons. Like the man in the middle, so to speak, right? Or another simple clue, look at how modern jetliners fly, right? Of course they are like birds, right? One action at a time. The hummingbird, 2 actions at a time. Okay, the true chopper propellers, you remember that example? So a normal aircraft, a Boeing or whatever, exactly the same thing. 2 vortexes produced by the jet engines, and of course we have the cabin being, in this scenario, the man in the middle, the neutron. Hence liftoff, which is basically prolonged falling. So keeping on, we have this another brilliant creature which shares the same habits as the hummingbird, very unique ability like the hummingbird. And as you can see, as demonstrated on the right, we have the black line, the red line, the dots, the black and the blue, right? No, not the black, the red and the blue dots. And of course we have the curve. Okay, so like I said, as you can see, number 8 is back. Why? Because this creature here has that ability to hover. So it is just a matter of principle that it performs 2 acts at a time consecutively, hence providing that, as you can see from the graph here, right? When it goes down, these others are going down, are going up. When it's going up, the others are going down. And of course, the strokes on the top left, they demonstrate mechanically how this creature is able to do this, right? Using, I don't know, simpler ways. Right? But the point is, the dragonfly is impressive, the hummingbird is impressive, and you cannot forget about number 8. It shows up here also. Okay, moving on. We are familiar with these things. Right? A storm, spinning. There goes the number 8 straight up in the middle. A vortex. Sucking in air from the bottom, taking it up. This is another demonstration. Well, this is from flight school. And these are the maneuvers that they apply to have a proper landing. And of course, we have another maneuver, so-called lazy 8. All right? Cannot go into flight and stuff, but the point is that, right? So you have 2 vortexes on each side, maybe 4, maybe 5, it doesn't matter. And a tube in the middle, right? And these vortexes are what causes the thing to fly. And of course, there is what the word they use here, phase shift, right? Phase shift. Right? Hence, flying is really falling, prolonged falling. Okay? Just like life extension is a prolonged death. You understand? Pull up the number 8, right? On one cycle, we have life. On the other cycle, we have death. So let's examine, for instance, cryogenics. What does cryogenics do? They are intended to have a direct, or rather, a direct impact on the decay of cells, because they're decaying, right? They're in a slump, right? But you can slow down that slump. But it does not change the fact that it is falling. Or rather, in this case, the cell is dying. The devil is a liar. Don't take too long to die. Okay? Whatever they try to sell you, it's natural. Right? Even in the prophecies. It's not that people won't move on, right? This earth is a material realm and it is limited. It is limited. The evil one has shortened our lives, right? We are not living them to the fullest as it was intended. That is what is going to be corrected. You can read for yourself how infamous number 8 is. This is from a manual. The super 8. Well, this 8 comes from your brain, of all places. This is a circulation going from left to right, right to left. It's literally everywhere. Your brain, for instance, sight. Right eye, the information goes to the left brain. The left eye, the information goes to the right. Again, they are crossed like that. Number 8, consistency. At least that's what it is called, number 8, man. Because I don't know, maybe in time it was called many, many things. Right? But here we are. Okay? 4 hemispheres, 4 heart chambers, same pattern. Either 1 at a time or 2 at a time. What do you think we are? These are medical devices. And of course, they maintain the same. You can see the number 8s over there. And of course, they use these devices to issue shocks to the brain. I wouldn't recommend this unless it's directed energy. It gets complicated. The issue of depth, and this will just cause more damage. Might give relief, but neurological damage. Quite sensitive up there. But hey, that's what we got. Look at this. Vortices everywhere. Human brain. For those who don't know. Cross section on the bottom. The 2 hemispheres on the top. Again, huge number 8. This is another demonstration where number 8 could also be useful. So, stationary, potential, kinetic. Potential being the middle. Don't know why they did what they did, but hey. Right? They are the ones that say the the particle broke down in three. It's just two, right? It's two. One is glue, right? Maybe it's the elusive God particle they were looking for, a neutron. Because why a neutron? Again, it represents potential. Potential for what? Being a proton or an electron. Let's circle back to this. Negative R, boom, boom, right? That curve. Going up, going down. Principle, right? This is what a pendulum does. Interesting, right? This is what a pendulum does when it is pendulating. Is that the thing? It has to stop because the two fields are working against each other, going towards rest. Again, that's why I say flying is prolonged falling. Choppers do it, right? Basically every vertical takeoff vehicle does it. Aircraft do it. Even though now it's more computer doing the... So, after all of that, we have seen these objects hovering over the skies and stuff, right? What do you think is their principle? Do they fly like a Boeing or a chopper? Because here comes understanding, right? It's all the same principle, right? The aircraft uses vortices to move forward, the same as ships use vortices to move forward. The difference is medium. Is that the word? I think it is. Medium. What it is moving through. Right? So, the hummingbird. Because if it had two, right? If a saucer, theoretically, if a saucer did what a normal bird does, one upstroke, two. And no, one upstroke, one downstroke. It would wobble. It would wobble. The only way to cancel out that wobble is to introduce another one, right? Put in some three-dimensionalism in that, right? To cancel out the disturbances created by the first vortex acting upon the medium. What is the medium then? Right? Ships, that's water. Aircraft, that is the wind, air. But for them, it is magnetic fields, right? And of course, the earth is just like this guy here, right? On the top of his head, That is the so-called North Star, right? Every compass keep pointing that direction over there, right? And we live encompassing this point, this never shifting point. I don't know why people keep believing we live in a globe, but hey, this particular point of reference, right? Around it. So the Earth magnetic field is more like this one here. Again, vortices on top of vortices, and basically a vortex Russian doll or something. Yeah, that's what. So yeah, same principle, different medium. If you observe the dragonfly here, look at its head, right? To the hummingbird, the head also, right? Why? Because, let me do this. Let me try to demonstrate. Where's my equipment at? Brush. Over there. No. Imagine, let me do this properly. You see that line, right? You can draw it on the bird also, right? That is the stability, right? This is what needs to be maintained, right? This center here. Again, spatial awareness. Right? It doesn't matter what shape it is, or ball, or a cigar, or whatever. No difference. So I'm thinking, what to do if we were to theoretically take down such a exotic flight. I have a theory, but that's not important. Today, we know about the number 8. So everything in nature is like that, divided in 2. Pairs. That's a guarantee. The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, they are connected at a point where we find the most important gland that controls a lot of things, let's just say. Some call it the third eye, because it has cells that are supposed to be in the eyes, but they're deep inside the brain, among other things. So, number 8 is important. So, whenever these problems come, just think of that. It's not a 3-body problem, it never was. Even in the movie, it was never a 3-body problem. It was a 2-body problem. These aliens, right, in the series, they're trying to come here and they're trying to find a way to bond. Hence, it's not really a 3-body problem. It's a 2. body problem. The third being the potential, which cannot be regarded as a state, just like water, for instance, right? Liquid, ice. On one cycle of the 8, you have liquid. On the other side, we have solid. Everything else is phase, heading towards one of the two. Vapor heading to liquid. So is the other, heading the other direction. Number 8, vortices, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put a pin on it right there. Prince Easy, signing out. Love you. Bye.